This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It's Monday, May 11th, and right now it's 6 o'clock on Good Morning Indiana.
We're very excited to get opened up, but it's also kind of nervous because we just don't know.
Restaurants, barbershops, and other businesses are opening their doors for the first time in months today. We'll show you the precautions they're taking to keep customers safe.
I was enraged. At this present moment in time, we should be able to appreciate and acknowledge what we do.
Only on RTV6, the signs now considered a neighborhood violation. The couple shocked with a letter from the Homeowners Association before they went to work.
The pandemic is not stopping the Indianapolis Fire Department from looking for new recruits, and they're extending the deadline to apply. What you need to know to join some of Indy's bravest. And millions of young adults will not be getting a stimulus check, like college students and others have been excluded from the relief package. And it is 6 o'clock here, the start of a new work week. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. We continue social distancing. Todd Clausen and Rafael Sanchez reporting from home again today. Rafael, good morning to you.
Lauren, good morning. I hope you've had a great Mother's Day weekend. I saw some of your pictures on social media. Archie is obviously adorable, and I thought you had a good weekend.
Yes.
A new week begins. The forecast is not as adorable as Archie.
No, I'll second that, Rafael. It is not as adorable as Archie, with temperatures here in the 50s. And this morning we're walking out the temperatures that are in the 30s once again all across the area. There's a chill in the air, very similar to when you went to sleep last night. And we're dealing with partly to mostly cloudy skies this morning. There's been a few flurries and a few sprinkles overnight, although those are starting to come to an end across the area. There's a few sprinkles out there that made their way through the metro area, pushing down to the south now, and that is just about it. And as we expand out to our west, we're kind of stuck with the clouds, I think, throughout the day today. There'll be some sunshine mixed in at times, but overall it's a mostly cloudy day, and with those clouds and that northwesterly wind, it's going to be chilly. As highs today, Lauren, will only be topping off in the low 50s.
Todd, thank you. Let's take a look right now at traffic as you're heading out on the roads, maybe heading to work early this morning. This is I-65 near County Road 600 North. Right now around the metro area, the good news, no crashes to report to slow you down. Of course, we'll keep an eye on things and let you know if there are any delays for your commute. Rafael?
So, Lauren, stage 2 of our state's plan to reopen is taking a big step forward today. Hair salons and barbershops can reopen by appointment only beginning today. Restaurants will be allowed to open their dining rooms at 50% capacity. These steps apply to businesses in counties that have been stage 2 for a week with no major issues. That does not include Marion County, where stay-at-home orders are in full effect through Friday. Now, a number of restaurants outside of Marion County are preparing to reopen to diners today with some new safety precautions in place. Our Kelsey Anderson is live this morning in Fishers, where one restaurant is ready to reopen with those new precautions. Kelsey, good morning, and fill us in.
Hey, good morning, Rafael. So like you said earlier, at 50% capacity, restaurants can open. And Sangiovese here in Fishers will be opening with some changes that customers will see and changes that they won't see. Tables will be seated at least 6 feet apart. Staff members will wear masks and gloves, and their temperatures will be taken. Owner Chris Evans says there is excitement but also nerves about getting back to business.
I think the first few weeks are going to be very tricky, very difficult. Not difficult, just tricky. You know, people are going to walk through that door a little nervous, but I think the people that walk through the door are ready to get service. They're ready to get that interaction. So we've got an approach where we are, our guests will have the option to text in their order from the table. They've got instructions. I don't know who's going to do that, but to serve, our staff will also come and take your order and interact with you. So we'll deal with each guest individually and see how they're feeling about it.
For now, you do need to make a reservation to dine in here at Sangiovese, and the restaurant is offering carryout. Some restaurants in the area are not opening yet today or even this week, so you might want to reach out either online or by phone to see if they're open before you head to the restaurants. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
All right, Kelsey, thank you so much. Indiana is now reporting more than 24,000 COVID-19 cases since the pandemic began. The state health department Department reported 402 new cases and 17 new deaths Sunday. That brings the death toll to 1,379. So far, more than 140,000 Hoosiers have been tested for the virus. Now, for the first time since the stay-at-home order took effect, churches held in-person services on Sunday with restrictions. Faith Apostolic Church up in Carmel taking many precautions to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Only 50% of the building capacity will be filled. The children's area is closed, and there's hand sanitizer stations around the church.
We want to do our best to make sure it's done in a safe way. We would be devastated if anyone would contract this virus while here at church. So we're doing everything in our power to keep it as safe as possible.
For those who may be at risk or just don't feel comfortable leaving home yet, the services will still be live streamed. Restrictions on places of worship were lifted in most Indiana counties on Friday. Again, that does not include here in Marion County.
The time now is 6:05. A controversy involving those yard signs highlighting heroes. An Indianapolis couple was simply stunned when they learned that during this pandemic, their signs would be considered in violation. These signs are a point of pride for Damon and Tina Turnmeyer outside their Indianapolis home. Damon works with kids with special needs. He's been on the job for 16 years.
I love working with the kids. I love it. It's one of the most rewarding jobs ever.
His wife, Tina, works at Homeview Health in Franklin, a position she's embraced for over a decade.
I take care of the elderly. They're the most at risk with this virus right now. He takes care of children.
The Turnmeyers have been married for 8 years. Their passion for serving others is highlighted with these signs. One proclaims, "A hero lives here." The other, "We love our hero." But their homeowners association sent them a letter asking them to remove the signs from public view for violating their neighborhood's covenants.
I was enraged. At this present moment in time, we should be able to appreciate and acknowledge what we do.
I was very proud. My mom actually gave it to me. She bought it for all of her daughters and sisters that are currently working. Some of us in the healthcare, some of us in working at Meijer.
In their letter, the HOA gave the couple time to remove the signs before it takes action.
So what do you say to the HOA who's going to say, look, we have rules. If we don't have rules, people will paint their homes pink. They'll put yard signs. They'll put fish tanks in the yard. They'll go crazy. We have to have rules.
And I understand that. Right? With us having a pandemic, my stand is until this pandemic is over, I think that it should be represented that, that we are going to work every day and we are doing what needs to be done to look out for America.
Well, Raphael, we've all seen a lot of those signs around. What is this HOA saying this morning?
Well, we did reach out to Omni Property Management Services. I'm told that only the board of directors, Lauren, can make an exemption. I reached out to them last Thursday. I've not heard back from the board just yet. The Turnmeyers, Lauren, have until Thursday to remove those signs or they could face legal action. I should also point out that over the weekend, I began hearing from teachers who live in subdivisions with HOAs, and they're also being warned to pull out their teacher appreciation signs out of their yards or they too could face legal action.
Really interesting. Of course, keep us posted if you hear anything back. This entire story is posted on our website, theindychannel.com. Well, there's some changes coming from anyone who wants to visit Indiana State Parks during the pandemic. Admission fees are now being collected at Turkey Run, Shades, and Indiana Dunes State Park. Those changes will begin this Friday, May 15th. Starting today, restrooms, nature centers, historic facilities, and marinas will be open to the public. The golf course at Fort Harrison State Park is also back open. DNR officials remind visitors that they should still be practicing social distancing while visiting these locations. We can also tell you the Indianapolis Colts are preparing for the possibility of changes to their season, including cancellations. The team is announcing a ticket refund policy this weekend. If games cannot be played, the NFL in front of the empty stadiums, there will be full refunds available if you bought your ticket through primary sites like Ticketmaster or with the Colts website. If a game is rescheduled, fans can use that same ticket for the new date. And the NFL releasing the team schedules last week. You can see here the Colts season kicks off in Jacksonville on September 13th. The home opener is set for September 20th against Minnesota. The Colts are not scheduled to play any Monday night games.
The Indianapolis Fire Department helping Hoosiers rebound with new job opportunities. Coming up, what you need to know to become a recruit. But first, let's check in with Todd Clausen with today's forecast. Good morning, TK.
Raphael, it's a chilly Monday morning for us here across the area, and unfortunately that chill is not going away throughout the course of the day today. Partly to mostly cloudy skies, and as you're working from home, probably going to want to work indoors and not so much out on the patio with highs only in the low 50s. But the good news is warmer temperatures are heading our way. We'll let you know when they arrive coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now is 6:10. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV 6.
Apply online today.
Welcome back. Here's a live look right now in traffic at I-65 near 38th Street. Everything's moving along up to speed, both northbound and southbound.
WRTV's The Rebound Indiana is our initiative to make sure that you are ready as you make that personal financial comeback, which includes knowing who is hiring right now.
Raphael, it's right. And the coronavirus pandemic is not stopping the Indianapolis Fire Department from moving forward. They need to fill some firefighter positions, but it is giving applicants a little bit of extra time to get in and get joining on Indiana's very bravest.
With COVID-19 around, being a firefighter is a little different these days.
Gowns, goggles, mask, and all that stuff. So on top of the fire gear, now we have all this EMS gear that we're learning how to put on.
Usually during shift change, you want to talk to the firefighters or you're relieving. You have some camaraderie there, and now we are kind of avoiding talking to each other and interacting during shift change and stuff like that.
Still, Indianapolis firefighters Nico Periambata and Megan Ridley, who are relatively new to the force, feel this is their true calling.
For me, it was just staying determined, staying dedicated to what I wanted to do with my life.
Megan signed up for the challenge because she looks up to her brother.
A couple years ago, my brother got on, and it's just been that goal that I've always wanted now since I saw him, and I've been ready to do it.
Many share the dream of joining Indy's bravest. And now, thanks to stay-at-home orders and social distancing restrictions, the department has extended the deadline to May 15th to apply for the next recruit class, which begins in 2021. The process takes about 10 months to complete, and roughly 100 recruits will make the cut.
You need to make sure that you know as much as you can about the fire service, about the Indianapolis department, just keeping yourself knowledgeable, always looking to learn.
Both Nico and Megan say one thing is key if you really want to become a firefighter. Persistence is what will see you through.
It was actually my second time through the process before I got hired. So going through it the first time, I was able to get a feel for how it was ran. The second time, I prepared a little better.
There's an application, a written standardized test, an oral interview, a physical test, and a mental health assessment. A step-by-step path leading the way to being a lifesaver.
There is nothing else in life that someone can offer me to do for a living that I would rather do than be an Indianapolis firefighter.
Working for you, Mark Mullins, RTV 6.
Mark, thank you. Again, the deadline to apply for the next recruit class is May 15th, so you still have a few more days. Starting salary is $51,000 for the first year, and by the third year, firefighters are making more than $71,000 a year. If you'd like to read more about the benefits and apply, we've provided a link to this story at theindychannel.com/rebound. It is time now this Monday to get a check of our forecast as we start a new work week. Todd Clausen is standing by from home, and Todd, it is a cool start.
Yeah, you know, we're in the 30s and 40s. Not much has changed, Lauren, from over the weekend. Of course, we're not quite as cold as we were Saturday morning when it got down to 27 degrees, but we're in the 30s here this morning. What you see behind me here is a graph of high temperatures as we work our way throughout this week, and our normal high is now 71. That's up a degree from last week, and you can see we're running well below normal through Wednesday, and then we see the temperature spike, so it's Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend to look forward to as as far as some warmth building back in, but of course with the warmth comes that trade-off, and that is going to be some rain. The sky's starting to brighten here, sunrise officially in just about 20 minutes or so, and you can see the overcast sky, and we're going to be mostly cloudy today. I do think we'll start to work in some sunshine at times throughout the day today, but I also think there's just always going to be more clouds than sunshine across the area. 38 in Indy as well as Bedford, 37 in Crawfordsville, 35 is the current temperature as you make your way into the Richmond area. We had a few sprinkles and flurries throughout the overnight hours. Most of those have moved out of the area now. That's the good news, but you can see the clouds in place across parts of the area, and we're going to have a pretty quiet weather pattern as far as storms go for the start of the week. When these cooler temperatures are in place, we're just going to take a little while to start to thin these clouds out because we just have a pretty persistent northwesterly wind that is going to be coming in, and that's a cooler wind direction, and that's going to help, unfortunately, to keep the clouds around, and it's just going to be a little while before we can thin them out and get into some consistent sunshine maybe by Wednesday. Throughout the day today, your temperatures only get up to 52 degrees, again with that toggle between partly to mostly cloudy skies. This evening, we will see our temperatures cool off pretty quickly across the area, back down into the 30s across most of the area once we get past the 10 o'clock hour. So we go from the 50s to the 40s eventually as you wake up tomorrow morning into the 30s. In fact, off towards the east, you could get down to right around 32 in Richmond. And a lot of that's going to depend on the cloud cover that's around. But because of the potential of getting down into the mid 30s, the National Weather Service once again will have a frost advisory in place. It was a freeze warning Saturday morning. Frost advisory means temperatures are going to be running just a little bit warmer. And so throughout the morning hours tomorrow, you'll want to have those plants covered, or do it tonight, obviously, before you go to bed, throughout the overnight and morning hours tomorrow. And then throughout the day tomorrow, we're back up to right around 60 degrees. So that's some improvement in the right direction. We're up to 63 on Wednesday, but there's the 70s for highs Thursday through Sunday with the chance of some scattered storms. And look at those lows. By the time we get to Thursday morning, our low temperatures are going to be warmer than our high temperatures for the day today. That's how chilly and kind of how rare this air mass is that's in place currently across the area.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic. This is I-65 and I-70 at the North Split. We still have I-70 in both directions, closed between the North Split and 465 on the east side for long-term NDOT construction work. So keep that in mind as you're heading out the door today. You can see traffic through downtown right now is traveling up to speed and still pretty quiet. Raphael?
The time now is 6:20. After a weekend of self-isolation, the vice president will return to the White House today. On Friday, we learned that Mr. and Mrs. Pence's press secretary tested positive for COVID-19. That now makes 2 people at the White House complex with confirmed infections. The vice president has taken multiple tests since his exposure and have come back negative. Others who were exposed, like the heads of the CDC and the FDA, have gone into voluntary quarantine. White House officials say they will be stepping up safety protocols throughout the next few weeks.
Well, as employees return to work, some companies are considering technology that could monitor movements and help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Accounting firm PwC has already begun using a tool like this at its only open location in Shanghai, China. The company developed an app that tracks how close employees get to each other by using Bluetooth and Wi-Fi signals on smartphones. PwC also has several locations in North America. Other tech companies based in the U.S. are working on creating similar apps.
So millions of young adults will not receive a stimulus check coming up, while those in college and some disabled are excluded from this rebound effort.
Coming up on Good Morning America, coast-to-coast coverage of the coronavirus, plus an ABC News exclusive interview with the president of Clorox. When we'll see those much-needed disinfectant wipes and sprays back on store shelves, well, that is all coming up on GMA.
In just a few minutes, and did you know there are 4 different types of diabetes? Type 1, Type 2, gestational, and pre-diabetes. The ADA works to support all types of diabetes, and RTV6 is proud a partner of this year's American Diabetes Association's Indiana Toward the Cure, and this year it's going virtual on June the 6th. This morning we encourage you to get active by walking, running, or cycling. You're watching Good Morning Indiana on RTV6.
It is 6:24 on our Monday, and it is time to talk about what is trending at 6.
So, Lauren, a big question this morning. Why are we Hoosiers? Any idea why we are Hoosiers?
I've heard some theories, but I don't know what to believe, Raphael.
We are Hoosiers because we do not like crocodiles or big black bears in our homes. That's a big reason why we live in Indiana. Check this out. Two friends in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, they went to a cabin, got an up-close look at nature on their weekend getaway, right? But a black bear forced open their door and made its way inside, and it wasn't alone. There were 3 more on the porch. This is why we are Hoosiers. We don't do this. The police were called and got the bear out of the house. The animals did leave a few souvenirs, a couple of Reese's peanut butter cups, M&Ms, Sour Patch Kids, potato chips, beer, and of course, listen, we could use a Zyrtec because in Indiana we do have a lot of issues with allergies, but Tennessee, you can keep the bears. Yeah.
They are pretty cute, but yeah, not that close, right?
No,
well, a New Hampshire couple received a graduation surprise over the weekend. Take a look at this. The Audettes both received master's degrees from Southern New Hampshire University after 6 years of studies while working and also raising 2 kids. Their friends and family didn't let the pandemic get in the way of celebrating, though. Even the local fire department and police chiefs joined in by this drive-by commencement festivity. Wow, that's so cool.
Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations again to the class of 2020. And a good morning to Tracey Pruitt. Miss Pruitt is our hometown hero on this Monday. Tracey is a telehealth therapist, and we thank her for her contributions during this health emergency. In fact, we thank all of our essential workers giving their personal best during this moment in our history. Now, time to check our forecast with the one and only Todd Clausen. Good morning, TK.
Raphael, good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. It's a chilly start to our Monday here across the area. Not much has changed since Sunday evening when you went to bed. We're in the 30s, and eventually we'll climb up into the 40s as the day goes on with mostly cloudy skies across the area. It's not until this afternoon I think we'll break into some sunshine, but even with that sunshine, our temperatures are not really going to warm a whole lot for us across the area. 49 today, the high temperature in Peru. That's all we can get to. 53 in Indianapolis. Mid-50s from Bloomington over towards Columbus. So bundle up. You do not need to have the umbrella for the day today. That's the good news. The showers have moved off towards the east, and we do have a warm-up heading our way. We'll talk about that good news coming up in the next half hour here on Good Morning Indiana.
All right, Todd, thank you. Well, have you received your stimulus check yet? If not, it's probably due to 2 reasons. 1, you're getting it by mail, or 2, you don't qualify. Consumer reporter John Matarese looks into why millions of younger people are excluded so you don't waste your money.
By now, nearly 100 million Americans have received or will soon receive a stimulus check. But millions of other people who desperately need money won't see a dime of it because of a loophole in the law. Daniel Barnes is doing odd jobs right now, a month after being laid off from his home improvement job.
We're a home exterior remodeling company. We sell doors, windows, roofing.
Now this 19-year-old has no income, but no stimulus check either. Did you get any stimulus at all?
No, I did not.
Daniel falls through the cracks of the COVID stimulus. If you're 17 to 23 and still claimed as a dependent, you don't qualify for either $1,200 or the $500 child credit.
Me being 19, me working, taking care of myself, I'm not really depending on my parents.
He says his college friends have it even worse because they need money for tuition.
Because they're trying to make their way through and getting a higher education.
But it turns out young working people like Daniel, who are out there in the workplace, are not the only ones falling through the cracks when it comes to those $1,200 stimulus checks. Business Insider says there's no stimulus check for anyone under 24 claimed as a dependent. Disabled adults whose parents still care for them, immigrants with no social security number, and some people recently divorced. Many are upset. 30,000 people have now signed a Change.org petition called Stimulus Checks for Dependents. And some in Congress, like Ohio Rep Tim Ryan, are pushing a second stimulus that would include people like Daniel.
We're not depending on our parents. We're still making a living for ourselves.
Unfortunately, if you're listed as a dependent, there is nothing you can do to get this round of stimulus checks. As always, don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese. Good morning, Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now on Good Morning Indiana on this Monday morning, here's a look at your 6:30 news feed. Several young people could face charges after an overnight police chase that crossed Marion County. Police spotted an SUV that had been reported stolen around 2:30 this morning near 16th and Sherman on the east side. Officers say the vehicle led them on a chase that ended near Lafayette and Georgetown Road on the northwest side. Police tell us 7 juveniles were inside that stolen SUV.
Let me take you east to Wayne County. A 17-year-old dead, another in the hospital after gunfire in Richmond. Richmond police were called to Lincoln Street around 5 on reports of a shooting. A young man later died at a hospital. The 17-year-old teen was treated and released. So far, no arrests have been made.
Now over to Lawrence. Firefighters say a dog is dead and a home is destroyed. 2 houses damaged after this fire in Lawrence. Crews were called out to the Birmingham Drive homes near 46th Street and German Church Road. This was Sunday afternoon. The fire chief says the family who lives in the house where the fire started was not home at the time. The chief tells RTV6 winds spread the fire to the other homes.
And the Indianapolis Colts have announced a ticket refund policy in case games are impacted by COVID-19. If games cannot be played or if the NFL makes them play in front of empty stadiums, full refunds will be made available. But that only applies if you bought your ticket through primary sites like Ticketmaster or the Colts website. If a game is rescheduled, fans can use the same tickets for the new date. The day on this day, of course, it's Monday, May the 11th, and welcome to Good Morning Indiana. Good morning to my good friends Lauren in Studio A and Todd also at home as we continue to social distance.
Yeah, that's right. And Raphael, I think we are all ready for some warmer weather. The sunshine was nice over the weekend, Todd, but what can you give us for our Monday?
Yeah, you know, it's not the best start to the week. I mean, we're over 20 degrees below normal temperature-wise. We won't have a ton in the way of sunshine, but not to be Debbie Downer, there is some nice weather heading our way. So there is something to look forward to. We just got to be very patient here and always have to remember patience is a virtue. Temperatures here this morning will be in the 30s and eventually climbing up into the 40s once the sun gets a little higher above the horizon. So by about 8 a.m., we'll start to see those temperatures slowly start to moderate. We're not going to work a lot in the way of sunshine here into the forecast this morning. You do notice that there are a few flurries that are still out there on the far eastern side of the state, and they're basically starting to come to an end. But just don't be shocked here now that the sun's coming up and maybe you see a flurry or two. But the overall trend for the day today will be for us to toggle back and forth between partly to mostly cloudy skies. Even once we do get into some sunshine, though, it is not going to help the temperatures much at all. We're only still going to be in the 50s for most of us here, on average between about 50 and 55 degrees. We'll talk about that warmth that I mentioned that's heading our way coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at your commute. If you're heading out to work this Monday morning, here's a look on the south side, I-465, a little east of State Road 37. Traffic's moving along smoothly, both eastbound and westbound. No delays to slow you down. Well, as of now, Indiana has surpassed 1,300 deaths from COVID-19. On Sunday, the state health department reported 402 new cases, putting Indiana past the 24,000 mark since the pandemic began. 17 new deaths were also reported on Sunday. The state also says there are another 129 probable COVID-19 deaths in addition to the official count. Indiana's earliest recorded coronavirus death was less than 2 months ago, back on March 15th.
And as the state continues to move toward reopening the economy, increasing testing remains a big piece of that progress. Last week, 20 new testing sites around our state were opened, and we can expect more in the days to come. This week, 30 additional sites will be open. Those sites include locations in Marion, Hamilton, Cass, and Hancock counties. State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Box is encouraging anyone who meets the requirements to get tested.
I encourage anyone with symptoms, anyone who lives with someone who has symptoms, people who have been exposed and need a test to go back to work, and those individuals who are high risk, such as individuals who are over 65, people with conditions like diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, and those members of our minority populations who are at greater risk to come and get tested. If you're at high risk, please get tested, even if you don't have symptoms.
So here's the information you need to know. The tests are free. The tests are free. To register, go to lhi.kc.gov IndyCare/COVID testing. We have a link to that site on our website, theindychannel.com.
Well, Indiana County is trying to rebound from this pandemic. More businesses are starting to open today. Stage 2 of the state's roadmap to reopen is taking that big step forward in many of the counties. And here's more about what that looks like. Hair salons and barbershops can open today by appointment only. Restaurants will be allowed to open their dining rooms at 50% capacity. These steps apply to businesses in the counties that have been in stage 2 for a week with no major issues. Now, that does not include Marion and Monroe counties, where stay-at-home orders are still in effect through at least Friday. A number of restaurants outside of Marion County are preparing to reopen their diners today, but they have safety precautions in place. Our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning from Fishers with what one local restaurant is doing to make sure that everyone there stays safe. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Lauren. So there is a lot of excitement across the state today as restaurants can open at 50% capacity for the first time in almost 2 months. Sangiovese in Fishers closed completely under the stay-at-home order, and now when it opens today, safety precautions will be in place. The owner tells us tables will be seated at least 6 feet apart and staff members will wear masks and gloves. Owner Chris Evans says the community has been supportive throughout this crisis.
We've kept communication with all our guests. Regulars have been texting me continuously. When are you ready? You know, we've got reservations for tomorrow, which is already looking a lot better than I was expecting. So we're really excited about that.
As of right now, you do need a reservation to dine here, and the restaurant is now offering carryout. Now, some restaurants across the state have decided not to open their doors today or even this week, so make sure you call ahead or check online before heading out. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
The time now is 6:36 as our state starts to ease social distancing. As you just heard from Kelsey, healthcare professionals say we need to proceed with a lot of caution. RTV6 spoke with Kristen Kelly, the Director of Infection Prevention at IU Health. She says although new cases have started to level off slightly due to social distancing, there is still some concern about a potential rise in new cases. Kelly estimates that 80% of Hoosiers have not been infected with the virus. That means we come out of social distancing, COVID-19 cases might go up. Kelly says that's why Hoosiers need to use good judgment.
As we go out, more and more people are probably going to encounter it and potentially acquire it. It's nothing to be afraid of, but I do think that it's something that we should understand is going to happen and be prepared for it.
Kelly recommends Hoosiers follow these simple steps. Start by socializing with a small circle of family and friends and screen everyone before getting together. Also avoid crowded locations. It takes just one sick person to spread the virus. You can minimize your risk by practicing some good hygiene and wearing your face mask, and also make sure to prepare mentally to go through a few seasons of off and on social distancing. And most of all, be patient as we are all coping with this new normal. The time now is 6:37 here on Good Morning Indiana. As the country continues to reopen, some essential frontline workers will be making less money moving forward. And here are the details. Kroger plans to phase out its $2 an hour hero bonus this month. Target's pay increase will expire at the end of the month as well. And Amazon's pay bump is set to end in mid-May. Meanwhile, Senate Democrats are proposing adding hazard pay as part of the next relief bill. The bonus would come to roughly a $13 per hour raise through the end of the year. Republican Senator Mitt Romney of Utah is proposing a similar plan, giving frontline workers up to an extra $12 an hour through July.
Well, RTV6's Hiring Hoosiers initiative is committed to helping you find jobs and resources. Right now, several companies are hiring. That includes the Postal Service, the Department of Public Works, Spherion, and Metronet, just to name a few. You can find more information about those positions and many more. Just visit our website, hiringhoosiers.com. Well, this will be the site above Indianapolis tomorrow. The Blue Angels are planning a flyover to honor healthcare workers, first responders, and other essential workers serving on the front lines during the COVID-19 pandemic. Times and routes will be released later today, and you'll be able to find those on the IndyChannel.com and on the RTV6 app just as soon as we get them.
His top press aide has the coronavirus, but he says he's not working from home. Next, how the vice president's office is moving forward now that COVID-19 is inside the West Wing.
And agencies that help victims of domestic violence were afraid that they would be busier when the stay-at-home order went into effect. Next, we hear from one agency that could really use your help as those people try to keep as many survivors as they can safe. It is 6:39. We'll be right back after this short break.
The time now is 6:42. Mark, thank you for all that information on the new jobs. The office of Vice President Mike Pence initially said that he would go into self-quarantine as a precaution, but now that same office says that Mr. Pence will be working at the White House today. Last week, the press secretary for the former Indiana governor was among at least 2 people working in the White House who tested positive for the coronavirus. The other positive test that was made public was for a personal valet to President Trump. On Sunday, the vice president's office said that Mr. Pence has tested negative and is following doctors' guidance. The heads of the Food and Drug Administration and the CDC are also in self-quarantine. Meanwhile, Dr. Anthony Fauci of the Coronavirus Task Force says he's in a modified quarantine.
As stay-at-home orders continue here in Marion County, a local organization is seeing an increase in crisis calls. Coburn Place provides housing to survivors of domestic and interpersonal abuse. The organization says more people are turning to them as emergency shelters put restrictions in place because of the coronavirus pandemic. Coburn has started temporarily putting survivors in hotels until they can find permanent housing. They are also helping pay for things like rent and utilities. The organization says the pandemic is forcing victims of abuse to make some really tough decisions.
It's an unthinkable decision to make during this time. Do I stay in a household that is dangerous, or do I flee my household knowing that me and my family members might get a deathly illness? It's a really difficult choice to make, and people are unfortunately having to make it right now.
Well, Coburn Place is putting the call to action out to the community to please consider donating during these challenging times. For more on how you can help them out, click on this story. It's in the RTV6 app. And if you'd like to help the community during this pandemic, but you don't really know how, the United Way has set up the COVID-19 Community Economic Relief Fund. RTV6 is a proud partner of this initiative. It supports organizations that serve people and families during this difficult time. You can donate to the fund by texting HELP 2020 to 91999.
And that is a great cause. Lauren, thank you so much. He had 2 distinctive careers, one of them alongside his wife, and then decades later, another one as a lovable curmudgeon on sitcoms. Coming up, a look back at the life of a comedy legend.
Another legend we lost over the weekend certainly made a big splash when Hoosiers saw him for the first time. Next, to look back at the man who brought rock and roll to the masses and made an impact on the Avenue here in Indy. Todd.
And Lauren, we're dealing with chilly temperatures not only here in central Indiana, but across much of the country as this big chill is pushing southward. The good news is some of these warmer temperatures off to our west, they'll start to work in here as the week goes on. We'll have the timeline for you, let you know exactly what you can expect coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 6:45.
Donation or volunteer today.
Honey, I got to apologize.
Apologize? What do you mean?
I almost spoiled the whole visit for you.
What do you mean?
At the airport.
What, you mean when you went up to Barbara Walters and you said, "How do you do, Mrs. Nixon"?
Yes, it's terrible. Oh, listen, to me, they all look alike.
I know what you mean.
This morning, we remember an amazing actor and comedian. Jerry Stiller and his wife Ann Mira were one of the most successful comedy teams in the country back in the 1960s and 70s. Jerry was also a classically trained actor with numerous appearances on Broadway as well as a number of television shows and movies. But for a new generation, Jerry Stiller is and forever will be George Costanza's father, Frank, on the legendary comedy Seinfeld.
And at the Festivus dinner, you gather your family around and tell them all the ways they have disappointed you over the past year.
And is there a tree?
No, instead there's a pole. Requires no decoration. I find tinsel distracting.
Frank, this new holiday.
We'll always remember that episode. Jerry Stiller also went on to play a similar character on the CBS show King of Queens for a number of years. And he was also the father of 2 outstanding actors, Ben and Amy Stiller. This morning, Ben Stiller announced on Twitter that Jerry Stiller had died of natural causes. He was 92 years old. We thank him for all the memories. We thank him for the gift of laughter.
Ready, set, go, man, go. I got a gal that I love, so I'm ready. Ready, ready, set, I'm ready. Ready, ready, set, I'm ready. Ready, ready, set, I'm ready, ready, ready to rock and roll. Going to the corner, pick
Well, the world continues to pay tribute to the legendary Little Richard, who died over the weekend at the age of 87. This was from Richard's first movie appearance, The Girl Can't Help It, back in 1956. Just 2 years before that, Little Richard made his first ever appearance here in Indianapolis. Music journalist Kyle Long posted this. On Easter Sunday of 1954, Little Richard was the opening act for the show at the legendary Sunset Terrace Ballroom on Indiana Avenue. After he had a few hits, Little Richard was back in 1956 at the casino room of the Walker Theater. And check out this lineup from a show in April of 56 at the Tomlinson Hall, which was next to City Market. Little Richard performing along with many other legends, including Fats Domino, Ruth Brown, the Clovers, and the Cadillacs, all for just $2 at the door. We rest in peace to a lot of important people that passed away over the weekend. Right now, we do want to take a turn, though, to our forecast as we start a brand new work week. Todd Clausen is standing by. Todd, what can we expect for our Monday?
You know, your Monday is going to be chilly, Lauren. Unfortunately, we're kind of carrying over this chill from the weekend. The end of our 7-day planning forecast, though, and that is going to be completely different. And I think it's a forecast, yeah, it has some rain in it, but that you are going to like. Here's a live look outside this morning, and we are dealing with overcast skies across most of the area and temperatures that are pretty chilly. We're in the 30s in most locations, including 38 in Indy, 38 in Bloomington, 37 is the current temperature in Kokomo. And we have more clouds than clear skies. You do notice there's a few pockets of clearer skies out there across parts of central Indiana. And we have been dealing with a few sprinkles and or flurries throughout the overnight hours. We'll lose that threat of the flurry or sprinkle moving off towards the east pretty quickly here this morning. Unfortunately, the clouds are going to be a lot more stubborn and they're not going to move out throughout the day. We'll kind of toggle back and forth, I think, between partly to mostly cloudy skies. So there will be some sunshine mixed in. Just the clouds ultimately win out throughout the course of the day today, and it's a chilly day as well with a high temperature that only gets up to right around 52 to 53 degrees and then quickly back into the 40s late tonight after the sun sets, and then overnight tonight temperatures will be back anywhere from about 32 to 38 degrees. So it is going to be a chilly one overnight tonight, and once again for parts of the area there is a frost advisory that is in place for all those counties you see shaded in a light blue. But even if you're not under the frost advisory, it is going to be a chilly one. Now tomorrow we move a little further in an upward direction temperature wise. Instead of 53, we're up to right around 60 degrees, kind of toggling back and forth once again between partly to mostly cloudy skies. But the real warmth in this forecast, that does not work its way into the area until the end of the week. Once we get to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we're talking about high temperatures anywhere from 75 to 77 degrees. I'll be using two words I haven't used in a while, and that's above normal, as we deal with temperatures above that average high of 71. The trade-off, though, will be numerous opportunities for showers and storms. At this point, it does not look like it's any all-day rains, and that's a trade-off I think most people will take. The potential for some thunderstorms, but warmer temperatures for everybody. In fact, our overnight lows as we get to the end of the week will be warmer than our high temperature for the day today, which again is at 53 degrees.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at traffic right now. This is our INDOT traffic camera at I-465 and I-70 over on the west side of town. You can see everything here is moving along up to speed in all directions. No crashes to report around your metro area at this early hour. Stick around. We'll be right back after the break.
The RTV6 app on your phone or streaming device.
Welcome back. Well, do you still want to be like Mike? An auction house is giving you a chance, but Raphael, you're going to have deep pockets.
So listen, with Father's Day around the corner, Lauren, just an idea. Just an idea. Sotheby's has put these up for auction, so take a look at these items. These are the game-worn and autographed Nike Air Jordans from 1985, shortly after Jordan joined the Chicago Bulls. The original price about $65. A Las Vegas collector has owned the shoes for the last decade, but online bids are being taken right now through May the 17th. the day before the finale of that hugely popular ESPN documentary, The Last Dance. The auction house expects the shoes that were originally $65, Lauren, to fetch $150,000. So I think I'm worth it. I think Mr. Lauren is worth it. I'm just saying, you know, think about it.
Oh, man, that may just be slightly over my price range, Raphael, but I'll see what I can do. All right, we do want to get a check of our forecast, Todd. We are not setting any records right now in the weather department. Things are pretty cold out there this morning.
Yeah, and instead of just showing you today's forecast here, I'm going to show you all 7 days because I really want to highlight the warmth that eventually works its way in here by the end of the week. We get into the 70s by Thursday, but until then, we'll continue to run well above normal. The trade-off is while we're cooler, we're drier. Once the warmth builds in, thunderstorms return.
All right, Todd, thanks so much, and thank you for joining us. We're back here in 20